Welcome to Myers Flies.
Hey everybody, this is Jake with Myers Flies, and I wanted to go over just real quick with you some options about a steelhead leader system or salmon fishing. That way you can kind of change it up a little bit. This is just some things that I do. There's several ways that you can do this. I'm going to give you just a couple options. Certainly if you come into the shop, we can talk a little bit more about maybe some specific details. When you're choosing leaders and the length of leaders and things of that nature, remember that the depth of the water, the speed of the water, those things are going to come into play at some point. But I'm going to give you just some basic things that I think would be a real help to you. Make it real simple for you. I've got one tied up here a little bit that I think we can use. First thing I want to talk about is the pre-made tapered leaders. Now we have these are Maxima tapered leaders. Of course, we do have the Maxima tippet spools in all different sizes, colors, the chameleon, ultra green, clear, etc. But one of the easiest things that you can do is take your fly line and then put one of these pre-made tapered leaders right on there. Now this is a 1X, so let's say we're going to go salmon. Obviously the salmon would be a little bit heavier than what you would use for steelhead. Steelhead is just a big rainbow trout, okay? So when we're looking at a salmon, that could be 10 pounds or heavier, 30 to 40 inches. Obviously, that's going to be a lot heavier fish than a smaller, 17 to 25, inch, steelhead. So keep that in mind. So you don't have to go as heavy for the steelhead. So what we're going to do is, let's say for the salmon, we're going to take this as a 9-foot 1X. So this is 12 pounds. So 9 foot. And it's a tapered leader, goes down to the 12-pound area. And so then what you would do is put this on, and then on this you would then put an indicator. I fish, the salmon and steelhead like I would when I'm fishing trout, where I'm using an indicator, inline indicator. So that would be like the Rio two-tone tippet. Also, you can take this Sunset, the Amnesia line. This is a red and a green, and you can blood knot those together. Sometimes people put 2 or 3, 4 different sections in there, so you have like a red, green, that way you can just kind of see that. You can blood knot them together, make a 3-foot section, 2 to 3 foot section. So that's an option. Or you can just totally forego that if you're not comfortable with that, and just go with an indicator or a bobber type system that you would just put on your fly line. Either case, you would take this Maxima, the tippet, the leader here, and then if you're going to use an indicator system, so you put in your inline indicator, that would be just say 2 to 3 foot of that. This is the 1X, which is 11 pounds. So you're going from the 12 pound to the 11 pound. And then what I did here is just put a little piece of this red Amnesia just so you could see it. So that would imitate the indicator, and then I go down to the bottom, and then I'll attach a tippet ring here, or you can just do a blood knot in here to attach it. Same way, up here. I usually just do from the leader itself right to the indicator, just do a blood knot in there. At 12 pounds, you're not going to have a lot of problem with that snapping. A lot of times for the salmon up in New York, I'm using only 8 to 10 pound tippet anyhow, so you shouldn't have a real big issue with that breaking. But you go from your indicator then down to a tippet ring, and now from your tippet ring, this is going to go down into what we call the terminal tackle. That's going to get you down into where your fly is and things of that nature. Now this will all go on the depth of the water. So if the water is only, knee deep, you're not going to need as long of a piece from the end of your indicator down to where your fly is. If the water's a little deeper or slower, you're going to need maybe a little bit longer piece there. And there's so many variables, I'm not going to get into that. But what you're going to do is, let's just say the water's knee deep, okay? I'm going to put, maybe a 5-6 foot, 5 foot piece of that tippet on there. And that's going to be, if this was 11 pounds up here in my indicator, then I'll just say run 8 pound down in this section. So if it breaks, it's going to break below my tippet ring. So now all I got to do is just start with my tippet ring and go back. If you put a heavier line down here at the bottom and it you put a heavier line here, what's going to happen is, if it breaks off, now it's going to break off up into your indicator and your leader, and then you've got to retie a whole bunch of stuff. So what we're doing is, you're going to snap off. That's just the bottom line. You're either going to get caught, one of them big salmon. A lot of times you're kind of beaching them. When you're trying to get them over, just kind of lead them over into the slow water to where you can get somebody on the net. Because if they want to run, they are going to run. I've seen guys get spooled many times where once that thing starts running, if you can't snap off that line, it's going to take everything. I've seen line backing, go 200 feet down the creek, gone. Spool is bare empty. So I always put something lighter down here, so that I'm going to come down 5 foot, and then off of the bottom of there, I'm going to give you 2 different options, okay, when you're running split shot and things of that nature. Now, you can go down 5 foot, 6 foot, something like that, depending on the depth of your creek. And then I've just got a little streamer here. This is one of our baby rainbow trout streamers. So you take one of these little streamers, put that on, and you can put split shot right on your line, in line, as you would when you're fishing trout. Now just remember that with the salmon being a little bbit bigger fish, they're a little bit higher off the bottom, so they don't hug the bottom. They're not as low as what a trout would be, because obviously a trout is the profile is a lot thinner. So you're going to want to come up, instead of trout, you might put your split shot maybe 6-8 inches above your fly. You might want to go into the 14-inch range, something like that. Again, the speed of your water is going to change this, but that way it allows this to sink. If your split shot is up here, it allows this to sink and allows your fly to ride a little higher in the water column. So that's an option. The other option is, what I'll do is I'll tie another tippet ring here at the bottom, and then off of that tippet ring I'll put just say like a 20-inch piece of tippet, and I'll put my fly, and then you can see there I tied a little green bead to represent the split shot. This is what's called drop shot. So what you would do is just put a little 5-inch tag of tippet material off of that tippet ring, and then I tie a knot in the bottom of this line, and then just stack on your, you can put 3, 4, 5 split shot, again depending on the speed of the water, how big your split shot are, etc. So you can just use this, and then what will happen is this won't get caught up on you. As it's drifting through, it'll just be bouncing along the bottom, and it'll allow your fly to move freely, and so you get a lot less tangles like that. So that's a lot of times what I do. The other option, if you don't want to put a tippet ring down here, is go ahead and run your line down from your indicator. Your indicator's up here. Run it down 5-6 feet, however long you're going to do. Put your fly on at the very bottom, and then come up into that 12 to 14 inch range, and then just do a double surgeon knot, and that's all that is, just a double surgeon knot. And you want the tag that ends down. When you tie a double surgeon knot on here, you'll have one that goes up towards your indicator, and then one that comes down towards your terminal end. So you just take the one that's down, snip the other one off, put a knot at the bottom, and then run 3, 4, 5, whatever split shot off of that. So I hope that this would help you in simplifying how you do a leader system. Like I said, we have the pre-tied leaders that we tie in shop with all of the Maxima, tippet, or you just buy. What I like to do, it's really easy, and you can get a couple of these, put them in your pack. That way you have them out on the water should something happen at break. But you can easily get this pre-tied leader, and there's nothing involved. All you're doing is attaching it to your fly line and then coming down with the Tippet Rings. We sell the Angler's Image Tippet Rings. I use these 1/8 or 3 millimeter. It's a little heavier, bigger ring. You can use those. You can use the Rio two-tone indicator. I use this. This is the 11-pound. It holds salmon. I've caught salmon up into the 40-inch range, and that holds it pretty easy. So then again, you take the same system if you're doing steelhead, and you can just lighten up those tippets and lines, so you don't have to go as heavy for the steelhead. So if you have any questions, feel free to email us here at Myers Flies, or stop down at the fly shop, and I'll be happy to help any way that we can. Thanks for watching.